Hello, this is old Mr. Kent of MrKent.com, and I'd like to have fun, so I made that takeoff pad, but it blows away when I go to land, but usually I land over on the concrete. I have to take off out in the middle of the lot because otherwise I don't get a good GPS signal. Well, the reason for this flight was just to have some fun flying, but also I wanted to check the dirt roads because I haven't ridden my e-bike for several weeks and I'm getting kind of anxious to get out and ride. I got to wait till all the mud puddles are pretty much gone because I don't want to go down the dirt road and then have to stop and turn around and come back because I didn't, I ran into a mud puddle. But while I'm doing this, and I told a story about some of my teaching experiences. So here's another story about my teaching experiences. Excuse me. I taught metal shop. Now, I had several good interesting experiences teaching metal shop. But one of the things that we taught welding. We taught electric welding and gas welding. And one day, this story about teaching gas welding. And what I would do is I would sit down on a stool at a welding table, which was pretty much had a brick top, and have the guys circle around, kind of a semicircle around, so they could watch as I welded. There's that car I was talking about in the last video. Anyway, I'd have them circle around, and then I would talk while I was welding. And of course, we all wore shop coats, and then when you do gas welding, you wear goggles that are darkened so you don't go blind looking at the flame. And so that was how I was dressed that day. And of course, back then, back when I was a teacher, you wore dress clothes. You had nice slacks and usually wore a tie. And that's another story that I'll tell you sometime. Anyway, if I can remember, in my drafting class. So so I was welding. I was showing them how to weld. And when you gas weld, just so you know if you've never gas welded, I just laid two pieces of metal next to each other. And then you weld from the right to the left if you're right-handed. And you have to heat it with the oxyacetylene torch. You heat up the metal till it's red hot, and you keep heating it until both sides of the joint are melted, so you have a little puddle of steel. Now, if you wait too long before you start filling it with the welding rod, it'll overheat and it'll pop, as they call it. But what happens is the metal just gets overhot and it kind of explodes and sparks go everywhere. So the trick of welding properly with a gas welder is to know when, and you learn that through experience, know when to, when you get the puddle formed between the two pieces, then you feed the welding rod in, and that keeps the puddle cool because the welding rod is much cooler than the steel. And so you make that puddle, and then you just slowly move along. Once the puddle is filled, then you move up maybe 1/4 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch and get a new puddle going and put more welding rod in. And you just keep moving along like that. And if you overheat it and it pops, then you kind of have to back up and start the puddle over again. And so I was explaining all that as I was welding away. And, I had a good relationship with the kids in school. I'd take them out jackrabbit hunting on Saturdays, and we'd have, in our electronics class, we'd have all-night parties trying to talk to people around the world on the ham radio, and so we just had a good time. So I'm welding away, and they're watching me, and so all of a sudden not all of a sudden, but pretty soon I heard some of the kids were chuckling, and I said, "Now pay attention," and then I kept welding, and it would pop, and I had to apologize, and then I kept welding, and pretty soon there were more snickers and more kids snickering, and I thought, what's going on? And about that time, I smelled smoke. When I smelled smoke, I turned off the torch and raised up my goggles and looked, and I was sitting on a bench at the table, the welding table, and some of the sparks had landed on my shop coat, and my shop coat had decided to catch on fire right in the middle, where it buttons together, and it was actually coming up to my face in flames by that time. And so we had a big wash basin in the shop that everybody washed their hands at. So I jumped up and ran over and turned the water on and started throwing water on myself, and I put the fire out. And fortunately, it didn't burn through my trousers. So I can't remember if the dress pants were still in good shape or not. By the way, when I looked at that one long dirt path, I decided I'm not going anywhere. So I thought I'd come over and take a look at this construction site, which there's absolutely nothing going on right now. Anyway, so I ran over there, got the fire in my shop coat put out. It ruined my shop coat. Fortunately, it didn't ruin my trousers. and the kids always had a good laugh about welding and kidding me about it, which was okay because I kidded them and teased them a lot. I felt really bad for one kid. He moved the torch over his thumb, got his thumbnail hot, and when you get your thumbnail hot, it doesn't cool down very fast. And so it keeps burning and burning. But we had a lot of fun in the metal shop, and I enjoyed the kids, and they enjoyed me, I hope. Anyway, a lot of them have some, they come back or used to come back and visit once in a while. So anyway, that's a story from when I taught high school. I want to thank you for watching my videos, and God bless.